This review was made possible through the use of Talk to Transformer. Half of it was written by the Transformer AI. It was also inspired by Austin Evans' recent video entitled, "An AI Made This Video." Links to both are in the description. It's gonna be so hard to not laugh through this script. As far as I remember, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the second game I ever played, the first being a bowling game on some Atari console that wasn't bowling for the 2600. When I was a kid, I absolutely adored Sonic 2. But does it hold up now? The first ersatz, Sonic 3, comes from DreamWorks Games in 2005, and its gameplay was similar to Sonic's original. Sonic 3 was released as a free-to-play game in 1998, making it the second game on the Dreamcast to actually receive free game services after Sonic Mania. But unlike Sonic 3 didn't come bundled with Sonic the Hedgehog's Sonic CD. In other words, I never had a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and had no idea it was any good until you played in an arcade mode. While I love the original game, I would give it low marks for its story, and the level structure is basically the same in both games. I don't know who said this, hint hint, but I'm looking for some more Sonic to play this week. If I can find a new Sonic, so be it. For the 3 people in the world who've somehow played Sonic 1 but never any of the future titles, Sonic 2's major additions come in the form of Miles, Tails, Prower as a sidekick, and the Spin Dash. Meanwhile, they removed the 3-act structure from the game, and instead simplified it into 2 acts, allowing them to fit more zones in the game. The Spin Dash is the central character in the gameplay in Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, and is featured in Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. Each zone in Sonic 1 was initially designed through Tails' experiments at a special machine, known as a brain egg, to create life outside of Zone 1. After his research was successful, his creation was transported back in time and placed in one of Tails' egg armies. However, Sonic himself wasn't yet able to move freely, and as a consequence, the brain egg was taken from him. The brain egg contained everything Tails discovered over the course of creating the original Sonic in order to protect it from evil. Tails then traveled to the future using an artifact called an egg arm, known as a future egg. My main issue with Sonic 2 is the amount of beginner's traps it employs, which is distinctly different from the original title, and most future titles. There are a lot of times in Sonic 2 where you're punished for trying to go fast, rather than challenged to maintain speed through increasingly difficult sections. One example I've encountered is a small section that would leave you spinning around if you tried to go faster than a certain point. It's often very frustrating and doesn't seem to work very effectively. It also feels like the game tries to do too many things. The ability to turn around, to jump on walls, and so on. This means you may sometimes be required to use both feet in order to do anything. To make things worse, if there's a trap in the same area as the one you went through before you're given a choice of whether to fall into the trap or not. You can either jump off the ledge while avoiding the trap, or attempt to pick yourself up to avoid getting hurt. It's definitely not an issue like the original Sonic, who always gets a free run, but it makes it very difficult to get up there. The other small issue is that you do get trapped in an area. The special stages, meanwhile, are even worse. Granted, they don't rely near as much on memorization as people usually imply, but a few of them are brutally difficult. The part that makes them particularly infuriating is just how taxing it is to get into the special stages for just a single shot at a Chaos Emerald. Special Stage will give you the choice of either going straight past the checkpoint with a single item, which is always a sure bet, or going through the very long line with the checkpoint in front of you, with only a couple of chances to pass. Once that's done, go directly to the final boss. I will never know why I chose to go straight down, since a lot of things will be different. The very long and difficult part is a huge pain to get into. Once that is done, you'll find that you're supposed to pass through a small part of the background stage. I was supposed to find the one at the beginning of this playthrough where there was a hidden exit in a circular line. However, when I actually got there, I noticed the secret passage, but there was no one else, and it ended at a tiny, slightly odded out part of the stage. At very least, the presentation in Sonic 2 is a marked improvement over the original. The music is still fantastic, and even more catchy and varied than almost anything in Sonic 1. The sprites and tiles are more detailed, have better animation, and I feel have stronger colors too. Though I'm not completely in love with it because some of the sprites feel like they're missing definition. I feel Ursinus here has done a really impressive job. It's also been done a few times before, especially at the end of 2.0 when he looks so lifeless. So if you didn't like his designs last time, you'll be happy that we got him again in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I've been a fan of the second boss from Sonic 2 on for a very long time. He did better than my beloved boss for 3DS and Wii, though they were probably due to time-of-life issues. I'm sure he'll be back for S2 too. I'm looking forward to some good tunes and plenty of bad tunes, like the evil ones from the previous title, to add to the mix. That brings us to the gameplay. There are several characters to choose from that can be changed in Sonic Team. In Sonic 2, you can choose to play as Sonic, Tails, or Sonic with Tails following behind. Tails is often a hindrance, particularly in the special stages. The only exception is when you have a friend playing as him. There's also a 2-player mode where you can do a few full acts, complete with unique power-ups. The game that was announced here in Japan was also mentioned, but this time it will be a sequel. An unnamed team at Nintendo and Namco Bandai have mentioned that they will want the game to be like a sequel of Final Fantasy V. I would like to think that this is the same game that was announced, but they were still vague as to exactly what it was. What I can share is that the ending is being heavily focused around Sonic and Tails, and will feature a story similar to Final Fantasy XV. The story of the game might even come off more like a sequel to Lost Galaxy than a sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog. It's always nice to know that the game we're trying to play is just as good before, so that we can have a good time on our new game. Overall, well, a part of me still really loves Sonic 2, I can't really deny that it has a lot of issues that can really hamper the experience. The beginner's traps, the special stages, and even the fact that you have no rings for the final 2 bosses just don't quite add up to the stellar game this could have been. If you are after something different, here are a few things to consider. Sonic 3 is a much slower adventure than Sonic 2. Even though it does feel like it should be the same size, with Sonic's new jump and air dash and air attack all in play, it comes across at times as sluggish and choppy, and there are some issues with its ability to make you really focus on the character as opposed to just the game. And although it has a lot of fun stages, there's also some slow pace and the overall level design that makes it feel a lot less like part of the original game. When it comes to the final 2 bosses, you're still going to hate the way they're all set up in certain spots. The controls of their attacks are just so uninspiring, although that's only really true for Metal Sonic and Sonic 3. But what do you guys think? Do you enjoy Sonic 2? Do you feel like I missed something? Do you enjoy Sonic Riders? What other fan favorite characters do you like in the series? Sound off in the comments. Source Nintendo.